You thought the slap was the peak of the drama. Oh, baby. That was just the warm-up. Hours after Rasheeda shocked the entire Love and Hip Hop set by putting her hands on Jasmine in front of cast, crew, and rolling cameras, Jasmine came back with a counterpunch that had nothing to do with fists and everything to do with receipts. Forget the secret audio that's already been making the rounds online. Jasmine is now hinting that there's something worse in her arsenal. And if she lets it drop, it could rewrite everything we think we know about Rasheeda, Kirk, and the truth behind that on-set blow-up. Social media is already in flames. Crew members are leaking anonymous details. And producers are scrambling to control a storyline that's slipping out of their hands. If the slap was the spark, what's coming next could burn down the whole franchise. The cameras were still hot. When the room went cold, people think reality sets are chaos when drama pops off. But the first thing you hear after a slap is silence, the kind that makes the ring lights buzz and the boom mic hum. Jasmine's cheek burned, her ears rang, and the AD's voice cut through like a blade. Cut, cut, lock it down. Crew scattered toward their marks. Security rushed in late, and Kirk's stop, 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 stop echoed against the glass wall like somebody's excuse bouncing back at them. Rasheeda stood there, chest heaving, eyes glossy and furious, the kind of fury that doesn't need a scene partner. Someone thrust a bottle of water into Jasmine's hand. She didn't drink it. She stared at the cap like it might unscrew. The whole day, 2 minutes, maybe 3. And then the room moved again, producers conferring, walkies crackling. A medic with a flashlight asking Jasmine, "Can I check for swelling?" She waved him off. "I'm fine." Her voice sounded like someone else's. Kirk tried to come close. "Jas, this ain't it." She flinched before his hand even lifted. "Don't touch me." The crew pretended to look busy. The cameras pretended to be off-dot. By the time Jasmine was escorted to a side corridor, her phone was already vibrating non-stop. 2 unknown numbers. 1 blocked. Then a text from a name she recognized and wished she didn't. "Don't say anything yet. We can fix this in post." Fix this in post. She laughed, a short, cracked sound, and opened her camera app. A blurry reflection in the glass door showed her face, flushed, intact, steady. That steadiness scared her more than the slap. Outside, a PA offered her a hoodie and a ride. Jasmine said she'd call her own car. She waited until she was alone, then pressed record, not video, just voice. This is a note to self. Don't let them turn your pain into their pilot. She hit stop, opened notes, and typed a single line. The audio wasn't the worst part. Then she started a new memo titled Release Plan. When Jasmine resurfaced online 3 hours later, her cheek looked normal. The internet, however, did not. The onset slap had leaked in a dozen angles. None of them full, all of them enough. Comment sections split like fault lines. Rasheeda did what needed to be done versus hands are not content. Reaction channels looped Kirk's outstretched palm and slowed it to 0.25x like he could rewind consequences. The secret audio, the one everyone thought was Jasmine's smoking gun, was pinging around too. Muffled but damning. Rasheeda in a production meeting saying, "Keep the angle clean," while someone off camera mentioned maximizing engagement. People thought that was the big reveal. Jasmine knew better. The audio was the curtain. What sat behind it was a different show entirely. She started with a story. Not the Instagram kind, the kind that begins with the wrong text at the wrong time. "Y'all ever notice?" she said into her front camera. "How the most spontaneous scenes happen after someone gets a call. Let me show you a pattern." She screen recorded her call log from the past month, not her personal calls, her work line. 3 numbers repeated before every major confrontation. 1 she labeled wardrobe confirm. 1 that always popped up as unknown, and 1 saved under a single letter, M. After each cluster of calls, there was a chance run-in, a random overheard remark, a surprise discovery. "That audio you heard was ugly," she said. But the ugliest part wasn't the words, it was the timing. She pinched the timeline in, overlaying the call stamps with the scene dates. The chat went from laughing emojis to magnifying glass emojis. Then she posted a photo that didn't look like much, a production whiteboard with color-coded stickies. In the top right corner, someone had written payoff in red. Under it, 5 initials. 2 were obvious, K and R, 1 was hers. The last 2 were a problem. MJ and AL people went wild trying to decode it. MJ had to be Madison Jameson, right? But AL, a sponsor, an artist, a lawyer. Jasmine didn't say. She did something meaner. She let them guess. That night, went live, but not from her kitchen. She sat in the backseat of a car. City lights streaked the windows. I'm on my way to do something I should have done the first time somebody wrote my name on a whiteboard without asking, she said. The comments begged for specifics. She ignored them. I told y'all the audio wasn't the worst part. The worst part is the intent. The worst part is the premeditation. The worst part is someone looked at me and said, she can carry this. She held up a phone, not hers, unlocked on a text thread that wasn't hers. It wasn't even recent. It was from months ago. The first message: if she swings, we own the room. The reply: if. Then we can stage the rest. She ended the live before anyone could screenshot the contact name. The internet screamed. 2 minutes later, she posted a clip, not of Rasheeda, not of Kirk. A beer roll slice from a set day weeks earlier, a field producer coaching a background. Extra on where to stand in case something pops. The extra whispered, should I react? The producer answered, yes, but not too fast. Give the camera time. Comments flooded with variations of, oh my God, and so it really is a play. The producer scrambled. The network called. An exec she'd only met once texted, please pause. Mona tried logic. You can win without burning it down. Carly tried shade. Girl, you only trending 'cause she touched you. Jasmine smiled at that one and replied publicly. Correction, I'm trending because y'all tried to produce me and I declined the role. That line got reposted by every messy account within 20 seconds. Then came the clip nobody expected, a voicemail. 38 seconds that had nothing to do with audio but everything to do with motive. It was Kirk, not apologizing, not pleading, strategizing. If we release a clean statement and do a sit-down, this can pivot into a healing arc. They'll eat that. The chat detonated. Healing arc. This man, a PR manager, Jasmine didn't call him a liar. She didn't need to. She let his own words hang until they turned stale. But the worst part wasn't even the strategy. It was the insurance policy. Jasmine uploaded a redacted doc titled Incident Protocol. Pulled from a production Dropbox she had no business accessing and every right to expose. The audio wasn't the worst part. Jasmine said into the mic, voice clear, face unreadable. The worst part is that somebody decided my pain was a product and slapped a release date on it. She took a breath the entire city could feel. So today I'm returning their product to sender. The host didn't waste time. Jasmine, he said, leaning into the mic. Atlanta saw the slap. We heard the secret audio. But you've been saying the audio wasn't the worst part. So what is? The room felt pressurized. Through the glass, producers watched like referees who couldn't blow a whistle. Jasmine rested her elbows on the desk, fingers laced. The worst part is premeditation, she said. It's the way a whole room of people decided I could be the target and the catalyst and then built a calendar around it. It's the way a woman I don't even beef with in real life got coached to treat me like an obstacle so the cameras had a hero. A phone line lit up instantly. The host's eyes flashed. He knew a hot moment when it rang. Line 2? He said, pressing the button. Static. Then a careful voice. I worked hair on set for 2 seasons. I can confirm the text trees before big scenes. They'd ping us to hold talent in separate rooms until inciting event arrives. The host asked for a name. Anonymous is fine, she said, but check the call times on the day of the slap. 2 staggered arrivals, 1 intentionally 12 minutes late. The line cut. The room went still. Jasmine slid her phone across the desk. I have the call sheet, she said. The host angled it toward himself, whistled. 2 columns. He said for the audience, and a handwritten note that says, keep Jasmine outside. Hold Rasheeda in green room. Roll on approach. He looked up. This your worst part. Jasmine shook her head. We're getting warmer. He pivoted. Where does Kirk fit? People want to know if he was trying to stop it or if he was playing triage. Jasmine's laugh had no joy in it. Kirk wanted control. Control of optics. Control of pacing. He said the right words to the wrong people. And when you feed control to producers, they don't share. A notification pinged on the host's screen. He glanced down, startled, then grinned. We've got Rasheeda's publicist on line 1. He pressed it. A clipped voice filled the studio. My client categorically denies any knowledge of pre-planned violence. She was provoked by months of harassment. Jasmine rolled her eyes. By who? The publicist pushed on. Additionally, my client is cooperating with an internal review. The host nudged. Is that a network review or legal? Silence. Then both. Click. Convenient, Jasmine said softly. A review that leaves out the part where a producer wagged a finger behind a light stand. She turned her phone so the host could see a still photo, a blurred figure. A pointed finger, a wall clock reading 3:08, 10 minutes before. The host exhaled. You brought receipts to radio. Jasmine's smile was small. They tried to cut my mic on set. Not here. He nodded, then leaned forward. You said hero. Who's supposed to be the hero, Rasheeda or the network? Jasmine considered both. That's the trick. They crown one while selling the other. They turn one woman into virtue and the other into villain, and then they profit when we claw at each other. A producer slid a note under the glass. Wrap in 3. The host ignored it. There's a rumor, he said, that a sponsor paused. A campaign. Can you confirm? Jasmine didn't blink. A beauty brand pulled pending clarity. Funny word, clarity. They had plenty when they pitched me a redemption arc 3 weeks ago. Another line blinked. The host hit it. It's a familiar rasp. You've got me for 60 seconds. A collective inhale, Mona. The host straightened. Ms. Scott Young, you're live. Mona's cadence was cool. I will always protect my cast and my crew. Jasmine leaned toward the mic. Protect them from what truth? Mona's tone didn't move. From escalation. From narratives that make future work impossible. Jasmine's voice thinned and sharpened. Future work that requires me to be the crash dummy! The host cut in. Mona, did production stagger arrivals? Mona sighed. We stage entrances. For continuity, we do not stage violence. Jasmine lifted a brow, but you staged impact. The line went dead. The host looked exhilarated and a little scared. "'Kay," he said, palms up. Last question before they yank my show off air. If the audio wasn't the worst part? And premeditation isn't even the bottom, yet what is the bottom? Jasmine's answer came quiet. The bottom is the aftermath protocol that rewards the aggressor and muzzles the target. The bottom is a system where a woman can hit me, then get first interview, first edit, and first sympathy, because the machine already wrote the empathy map. He let it hang. Then music swelled and they went to break. In the seconds without sound, the host mouthed, "You good?" Jasmine nodded, but her hands were tight fists in her lap. When they came back, the atmosphere had shifted. The city was inside the room now. The host opened the phone lines and Atlanta poured through bartenders who'd serviced VIP lounges after emotion days. Background extras who were told cry if she cries. A security guard who said he was instructed to stand back until after first contact. None would give names. All sounded tired midway through a caller. Jasmine's phone lit with a text from an unsaved number. "Step outside when you're done. We can trade the rest." She flipped the screen face down and looked straight into the mic. "Hear me clearly," she said. "I'm not bartering truth for access." The host pulled up a tweet on his monitor, read it aloud from @KirkF. "Trying to fix what I broke. Pray for my family." He grimaced. Reactions mixed. Jasmine didn't look at the monitor. That's the language they coach when they need to pivot the narrative from accountability to pity. The studio door cracked. A station manager made the universal /rap now gesture. The host nodded, then squeezed one last beat. "Jasmine, what happens today?" She didn't hesitate. "Today, I hand the protocol to an attorney. Today, I file a report with the union for unsafe set practices. And today, I drop the hallway angle that shows the coaching." Phones lit like fireworks. The host stood to end the segment. Then a voice from the doorway froze him. "Don't." A woman in a navy suit stepped in, badge clipped low. "Network legal. Ms. ******. She said to Jasmine, "We need to speak privately." The host half smiled at the chaos he'd booked. "We're live, counselor." The lawyer kept her gaze on Jasmine. "If you release proprietary footage, we'll seek injunctive relief. Also, your contract." Jasmine cut her off. "I have a personal copy from a non-network camera." The lawyer blinked. "Well, I'll still file," Jasmine said. "And if you try to silence me, I'll read the risk matrix on air." Flinch. She had their language, and they knew it. The host killed the segment with a promise. "We'll be back with traffic and a mess," and the on-air sign went dark. In the sudden quiet, the lawyer lowered her voice. "There are better ways to resolve this." Jasmine stood, tucking her phone into her hoodie. There were better ways before someone told a mother that her humiliation was a scheduling opportunity. Outside the studio, the station hallways smelled like coffee and panic. A junior producer hustled up, whispering, "They're waiting by the elevator." Jasmine kept walking. Her sneakers squeaked on the tile. The junior producer added, "Not them, her." The elevator dinged. When the door slid open, Rasheeda stood inside, sunglasses on, chin high. A PR rep at her shoulder like a second spine. For a heartbeat, neither moved. Then Rasheeda lifted the glasses. Her eyes were red, not with tears, more like a sleepless burn. "You got your moment?" she said, measured. "Now what?" The PR rep started. "We should schedule." Jasmine held up a hand. "No handlers." The rep bristled. Rasheeda didn't blink. 2 minutes, she said, stepping out into the hallway. They stood an arm's length apart, past and present flickering between them like bad fluorescent light. Jasmine spoke first. "You could have called me before you let them weaponize." "Me?" Rasheeda's jaw worked. "Who could have stopped showing up in my story?" Jasmine's laugh was a small shard. "It was never your story. That's the point." Rasheeda's gaze flicked to the lawyer down the hall, then back. "You really gonna drop the hallway clip?" Jasmine didn't look away. "If you don't tell them what they told you." "A beat?" The PR rep hissed. "Absolutely not." The lawyer took a step closer. Station manager hovered like a weather vane in a tornado. Rasheeda's voice dropped, losing its polish. "They said hold. They said let the cameras find us. Said it would read," she swallowed, "happy." Jasmine's face didn't change, but something inside her unclenched. "Truth isn't happy," she said. "It's heavy." A phone chimed. Both women checked instinctively. By noon, the network statement hit. A bland apology to all parties. A pledge to review protocols and a promise to depict our cast with dignity. Comments torched it. Underneath, Jasmine posted a single clip, 10 seconds, of the hallway. The finger wag, the downward pat, the whispered wait, no faces, just hands and a wall clock. Caption: "You can review protocols. We lived them." And somewhere, a sponsor sent 2 emails, one pausing ads. and one asking Jasmine for a meeting by the afternoon. The hallway clip had crossed 1 million views, and the network's review protocol statement was being roasted in every corner of the internet. Twitter threads were breaking down the exact moment the producer's hand motioned wait. TikTok creators were reenacting the scene in comedic skits. And fan pages were posting stills with captions like, "This is what they don't want you to see." But the most surprising part wasn't the fan reaction, it was who started engaging with it. Cast members who'd stayed silent during the slap fallout began dropping cryptic emojis. An hourglass here, a popcorn bucket there. A few even liked Jasmine's post. In this game, that was as good as picking a side. By 3:45 p.m. Jasmine's phone buzzed with a name she hadn't seen in over a year, Tasha. The same cousin Rasheeda swore had nothing to do with the earlier video leak. The text was short, "Meet me tonight. No cameras." Jasmine stared at it for a full minute before replying, "Why now?" The dots danced, stopped, then appeared again, because they're about to feed you to the wolves. And you're not the only one they set up. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was on the other side of town filming what her PR team called controlled transparency, a glossy sit-down with a local Atlanta blogger who was known for softball questions. Snippets leaked almost immediately. Rasheeda saying she regretted how things looked, but insisting she had to stand up for herself. No acknowledgement of the hallway clip, no mention of producers, certainly no apology. The blogger's Instagram account posted a teaser reel with a caption, "Full interview drops at 8 p.m. EST. You don't want to miss this." The comments were split, half defending her, half demanding she say the word coached. Back in Jasmine's world, she decided to accept Tasha's meeting, but she wasn't going in blind. She called her friend, Dre part-time photographer, full-time. Chaos Magnetant asked him to tag along with a hidden mic. "If this is a setup," she said, "I want my own receipts." At 7:22 p.m., they pulled up to a quiet midtown bar, the kind of place where everyone pretends not to notice who's at the next table. Tasha was already there, hair tucked under, a cap, oversized sunglasses doing little to hide her identity. The first words out of her mouth were, "I should have told you before." Jasmine sat, arms crossed. "Told me what?" Tasha glanced around, then leaned in. "That slap wasn't the only scene they wanted from you. They had a 3-beat arc plan slap breakdown, and what they called the confession." Jasmine frowned. "Confession to what?" "To being the reason for Rasheeda and Kirk's marriage problems," Tasha said flatly. "They were going to stage it so it looked like you admitted it on camera, whether you said the words or not." Dre shifted in his seat, the mic catching every syllable. Jasmine kept her voice low. "And you were just going to let that happen?" Tasha's eyes dropped. "I was supposed to lure you to the set the next day. They offered me a cut. I said no. That's when they iced me out." "But they found another way to get you there, didn't they?" Jasmine's stomach turned. "The wardrobe call." "Exactly," Tasha said. "They dressed you for the scene before you even knew what scene it was." While they were talking, Dre's phone lit up with a push notification from the blogger's account. Rasheeda's interview had dropped early. The three of them huddled over the screen. In the clip, Rasheeda denied any coaching from producers and claimed Jasmine thrives on chaos and makes herself the victim. She even accused Jasmine of milking the slap for followers. The bar's low hum seemed to fade under Jasmine's pulse. "She just set me up for part 3, she muttered. Tasha's hand tightened on her glass. "That's why I texted you. They're gonna run this as a 2-woman feud. Keeps the heat off everyone else's, the producers, the execs, even Kirk. Especially Kirk," Dre added. That night, Jasmine posted a 15-second story, just her hand flipping through a thick manila folder labeled Confession Arc, draft scripts. No faces, no context, just that title and the sound of pages turning. The internet went wild, dissecting each blurred page in freeze frame. Some swore they saw scene directions that matched real episodes. The network stayed quiet until 10:04 p.m. when Mona Scotchung posted a single tweet. Half a story isn't the whole story. It was vague, but everyone knew exactly who. She was talking about by midnight. Hashtags #confessionarc and #drop-the-scripts were trending. Fans were tagging every brand affiliated with the show, demanding they pull out until production is transparent. One sponsor quietly deleted their logo from the cast's Instagram bios. The next morning, Jasmine woke to a text from an unknown number. "Check your doorstep." She opened her front door to find a small cardboard box. No return address. Inside was a USB drive and a single note. "You were never supposed to see this." On the drive were raw, uncut clips from multiple shooting days scenes where producers coached cast members, whispered now before arguments started, and reset positions like it was a stage play. And in one clip, clear as day, Rasheeda could be heard saying, "You sure she won't know this is scripted?" Followed by a male producer answering, "She'll figure it out after we wrap." Jasmine stared at the screen, the implications settling like cement. This wasn't just about her or Rasheeda anymore. This was evidence that could blow open the entire production's reputation, maybe end the show. As everyone knew it, she picked up her phone and hit record. "They wanted a confession," she said to the camera. "So here it is. I confess that reality TV isn't real, and the worst part isn't the audio, the slap, or the scripts. The worst part is knowing we all went along with I until now." She didn't say when she'd drop the USB files, but her final words made it clear she would. "When I post this," she said, "there's no going back." The morning Jasmine decided to drop the USB, Atlanta woke up like it was bracing for a storm. You could feel it in the air. Not just heat, but tension, a static charge that came with knowing something irreversible was about to happen. At 9:15 a.m., she posted a black screen with the words, "Today." No time, no explanation. That was enough to send every gossip page into overdrive. Reaction channels started streaming live countdowns. Fan accounts made prediction threads. And the network's PR department quietly pushed out a new press release about exciting upcoming projects, clearly hoping to drown the noise. It didn't work. By noon, Jasmine's followers had doubled overnight. Brands were suddenly reviewing partnerships. And at least one cast member unfollowed both Jasmine and Rasheeda within minutes of each other. The streets were choosing sides. At 12:47 p.m., Jasmine went live. She was sitting at her kitchen counter, the USB drive plugged into her laptop. No glam, no music, just her and the files. "They wanted a confession," she began, "but not this one." She clicked open the first folder. The chat count soared past 300,000. The first clip rolled, a behind-the-scenes moment from the day of the slap. You could hear a producer say, "Let her get close. Don't move the cameras yet." Then a whispered voice, "If it happens, we have her mic'd." The audio was crystal clear. The chat exploded, so they KNEW. This was a setup. Clip 2 was from weeks earlier. It showed Rasheeda in a green room with two producers laughing and rehearsing lines. One of them said, "Remember to mention the disrespect." "That's your trigger," Rasheeda replied. "Got it. I'll build to it." Jasmine paused the clip. "That's not improv. That's a script." The third file was even more damning. It was labeled Confession Arc Draft Rasheeda. The document outlined a three-part storyline where Jasmine would be framed as the cause of ongoing marriage issues, complete with bullet points for emotional breakdown moments and bridge scene with Kirk for redemption arc. Jasmine scrolled slowly so viewers could see the page titles. "They were going to write my downfall before I even said a word." Halfway through the live, a new viewer popped up in the chat at Monesco Tunk Official. She didn't type a word, but her presence was enough to make the comments spiral. "Mona, watching this. She's lurking." Jasmine smirked. "Good. Maybe she'll finally admit who's really in charge of the mess." Then Jasmine played the clip that sent the internet into meltdown. It was raw footage from a production meeting. Marcus Trent, Madison Jameson, and 3 other executives sat around a table. Madison's voice rang out. Jasmine is perfect for this. She won't fight back right away, and when she does, it'll look calculated. The audience will eat it up. Marcus added, we can frame Rasheeda as the strong wife holding it together. That keeps her brand safe. Jasmine let the silence after the clip hang heavy. The audio wasn't the worst part, she said quietly. This is knowing that people sat in a room and decided which one of us would be the villain and which one would be the merchandise. The merchandise. The live had been running for almost an hour when she dropped the biggest twist yet. And for those of you wondering who sent me this USB, she held up her phone, scrolling to a text thread. The sender's name was blurred, but the last message was visible. I'm done protecting them. Jasmine looked at the camera. Let's just say you've seen her in more than one scene. That was all she gave before ending the live abruptly. Within minutes, clips from the USB were everywhere. Hashtags like #ConfessionArc, #RealityRigged, and #JusticeForJasmine trended globally. Fans tagged sponsors, the network, and even unrelated celebrities demanding they weigh in. Rasheeda responded 2 hours later with a 2-slide Instagram post. The first was a black square. The second was a typed statement claiming Jasmine was selectively editing and that production footage is taken out of context all the time. She didn't deny the authenticity of the clips, but she insisted not everything is what it seems. The comments weren't kind. You rehearsed a slap. You let them set her up. By evening, the network announced that filming was paused indefinitely and that cast and crew are being interviewed as part of an internal review. But insiders leaked to blogs that the real reason for the pause wasn't the review. It was that multiple cast members were threatening to walk if Jasmine's evidence kept circulating. As the sun went down, Jasmine posted one last story for the day, a short video of her holding the USB over a lit candle. Part 1 is out, she said, but the rest is going somewhere safe. She blew out the candle, leaving the screen in darkness. Across the city, Rasheeda went live for just 90 seconds. No statements, no PR spin, just her looking straight into the camera, saying, "You think she's the only one with files?" Then she ended it. The war had officially gone two-sided. Rasheeda's cryptic 90-second live was all the internet needed to turn the tide from a one-woman takedown into an all-out two-front war. Her final line, "You think she's the only one with files?" echoed across social media like a dare. Fans who'd been screaming #JusticeForJasmine all week were suddenly split, wondering if Rasheeda had been holding her own arsenal this entire time. By 9 a.m. the next morning, the tension snapped. Rasheeda posted a 1-minute teaser reel titled, "Set the Record Straight." The clip opened with a black screen and her voice over it. Receipts go both ways. Then the footage began. Grainy security cam video from a production day 2 months earlier. The angle was wide, but there was no mistaking Jasmine in the corner of the set, laughing with a producer and saying, "If this gets messy, I'm fine with that. Messy works." The video had no timestamps, no context, just that one line played twice for emphasis. The comments lit up instantly. "Oh my God, so she admitted IT. Out of context? Maybe? Nah, that's shady." Jasmine didn't wait to clap back. 15 minutes later, she posted the full version of the clip over 5 minutes long. In it, the same "messy works" comment was clearly part of a sarcastic conversation with Carly Red, who was teasing Jasmine about dodging drama. The uncut audio made it obvious she was mocking the producers, not agreeing with them. And this, Jasmine captioned, is what selective editing looks like. Rasheeda doubled down. In a follow-up live, she said, "If Jasmine wants to show full clips, I can too. But some of mine, I'll make her think twice about playing victim." She then played a muffled audio file of what she claimed was Jasmine negotiating with a crew member to schedule a run-in with Kirk for better lighting. The voice sounded like Jasmine's, but it was grainy and overrun with background noise. Rasheeda smirked as she ended the stream. Not everything is a setup when you're setting it up yourself. By now, fans were deep into digital trench warfare. TikTok split into dueling hashtags #Team Jasmine and #Team RASHEEDH Camp, dissecting every clip, every blink, every background sound. Twitter threads sprang up with audio analysis from amateur sleuths. Some claiming Rasheeda's new file was clearly spliced, others swearing it was authentic. At 1:22 p.m., Jasmine upped the ante. She posted a screenshot of an email forwarded to her from an anonymous source. The subject line read, "Scene breakdown Rasheeda confrontation." And in the body was a bullet point that made everyone stop scrolling. Ensure both talents have leverage material to maintain mutual exposure. Threat. Jasmine underlined it in red and wrote, "Translation, they make sure we can ruin each other so nobody talks about them." The implication hit hard. Production had intentionally armed both women with dirt, ensuring they'd keep each other in check. Carly Red, sensing her moment, went live to clarify her role. "Look," she said with a half smile, "I've been in this game a long time. You think producers ain't always got backup plans? You think they didn't have my name on that whiteboard too?" But when asked point blank who she thought was telling the truth, Carly just sipped her drink and said, "Both of them." And neither. That evening, Rasheeda dropped what she framed as her real ace, a text exchange allegedly between Jasmine and a high-ranking crew member, where Jasmine wrote, "We can drag it out for more episodes if you want. I know how to keep it going." Jasmine fired back instantly, claiming the text was fake. She even posted a screen recording of her Messages app, showing no such conversation in her logs. "They're fabricating receipts now," she said, "because the real ones burned them." The escalation hit a new level when no one knew who he mailed. Multiple gossip blogs, a compressed folder titled Talent Leverage Final. Inside were files on both women, photos, old messages, clips from unaired scenes. Some were harmless, some embarrassing, and some potentially career-ending. The blogs claimed they wouldn't publish them for legal reasons, but screenshots from the folder began leaking in private group chats and Discord servers almost immediately. By midnight, the feud wasn't just Jasmine versus Rasheeda. It was a question of who leaked that folder and why. Some fans suspected production itself, trying to nuke both women's credibility in one move. Others thought it was Carly playing both sides for clout through it all. Kirk remained eerily quiet, posting nothing but a vague Instagram story that read, "Let the truth breathe." At 2 a.m., Jasmine broke the silence with a late-night live. She sat in a dimly lit room, laptop open, USB drive on the table. "You've seen what they want you to see," she said. "Tomorrow, you'll see what they never wanted anyone to have. And when that happens, this won't be a two-person feud anymore. It'll be a network crisis." She ended the live without a smile. Across town, Rasheeda hit record on her own story, a photo of her holding a hard drive with the caption, "Let's see whose files hit first." The clock was ticking, and the whole city knew that by the next day, somebody's career, maybe the whole franchise, was going to implode. The countdown to destruction started before sunrise. Every blog, gossip channel, and fan page plastered the same headline. 12 noon, both files drop. Nobody knew if Jasmine and Rasheeda coordinated the timing or if it was just fate. But the city was bracing for impact. At 11:58 a.m., both women went live. 2 different streams. 2 different energies. Jasmine's frame was tight, focused on her laptop and the infamous USB drive. Rasheeda's setup looked like a mini production ring lights, a branded mug, her boutique sign in the background. The viewer counts climbed like a scoreboard, hundreds of thousands pouring into each stream. Jasmine went first. "They've had a year to tell the truth," she said, slotting the USB into her laptop. "I'm going to show you why they never will." She clicked open a folder marked confession arc _complete. The first file was raw rehearsal footage from a week before the slap. You could see Rasheeda and a producer running lines. Yes, lines about putting Jasmine in her place and not holding back. The director's voice chimed in. Make sure it feels spontaneous. We'll cut around the cues. At the exact same time on her own stream, Rasheeda was scrolling through a folder labeled unseen_Jasmine. Her first clip was a handheld video of Jasmine in a makeup chair whispering to a crew member, "If I let her get close, you think she'll actually swing?" The chat went nuclear. #team RASHEEDA trended in seconds. But Jasmine's supporters countered that the clip was baited, just like hers. Then Jasmine played her next file, a boardroom meeting with Marcus Trent and Madison Jamieson. Madison clearly said, "If this feud doesn't last 3 episodes, we plant more triggers." The words "plant more triggers" echoed across social media like a siren. Hashtags #Triggergate and #RiggedReality started climbing. Rasheeda's next move was pure chaos fuel. She dropped screenshots of a text exchange where Jasmine allegedly told a stylist, "I'll wear whatever makes the slap pop on camera." Jasmine immediately countered in her own chat, "That's not my number. That's a Google voice line." But the damage was already done. Comments were splitting in real time, feeds turning into digital boxing rings. At 12:17 p.m., the real bomb hit. Both women unknowingly opened the same file at the same time. Different titles, same contents. Leverage materials _final. It was the infamous mutual destruction folder, a detailed outline from production listing every piece of dirt they had on both women, complete with deployment strategies. For each, it even had timelines for maximum impact leaks designed to keep the feud alive during hiatus. In Jasmine's chat, they played you both. In Rasheeda's chat, y'all both puppets. The energy shifted instantly. You could see it in their faces. Neither had expected the other to have this file. Jasmine went quiet, scrolling through page after page. Rasheeda took off her mic midstream and just stared at the document. But the viewers didn't stop watching. Clips were ripped, posted, and dissected within minutes. The deployment strategies included backup drama, arcs involving other cast members, even outside celebrities, to pivot attention if feud fatigue sets in. One bullet point even suggested cross-promotion. By leaking staged beef into other reality franchises, by 12:45 p.m., both streams were still running, but the comments had gone from picking sides to roasting the entire production. "We've been watching a soap opera with confessionals. Cancel the show, free the cast. Y'all got played worse than we did." And then the biggest twist, Jasmine's phone rang on live. She didn't mute it. The caller ID read M. Jamieson. She answered. "Madison," she said flatly. The voice on the other end was sharp, controlled. "End the stream. Both of you. Now we'll issue a joint statement." On Rasheeda's stream, you could see her phone light up with the same call. She ignored it. "We're not issuing anything," she said to her viewers. Jasmine smiled, but it wasn't joyful. It's too late. They already saw it. She unplugged the USB, held it up to the camera, and tossed it into a glass of water. You can't own what's destroyed. Rasheeda followed suit in her own way. She stood, walked off camera, and came back with a stack of printed documents. Without saying a word, she started feeding them into a shredder live on air. The sound of the blades chewing paper was louder than any of her earlier clapbacks. The comments went feral. "End of an era. This just killed the show. Free them all." Within an hour, the network announced production suspension effective immediately and locked all official show accounts. But the damage was beyond containment. Multiple cast members started liking shady posts, one even tweeting, "We've been telling y'all it's scripted." Sponsors started quietly pulling out by sunset. Neither Jasmine nor Rasheeda had posted again. But an anonymous Dropbox link began circulating in private circles, allegedly containing every unedited episode from the past 3 seasons. No edits, no music, just raw reality, or the lack of it. And in that moment, it stopped being Jasmine versus Rasheeda. It became everybody versus the machine. The feud that started with a slap ended with a takedown no one saw coming. Jasmine's USB, Rasheeda's hard drive, and the infamous leverage materials file didn't just air dirty laundry, they ripped the roof off the entire operation. Now the network is scrambling, sponsors are bailing, and cast members are quietly deciding whether to cash their last checks or speak their truth. But here's the real question. Who leaked the mutual destruction folder in the first place? Was it a fed-up insider trying to burn the house down? Or was it just another layer of manipulation designed to keep us hooked? And if those raw episodes ever hit the public, how many more names will get caught in the crossfire? One thing's for sure, the game has changed, and reality TV in Atlanta will never look the same again. Stay tuned.